Kentucky Republican U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell has been reelected Senate Minority Leader after receiving a challenge to the leadership position from Florida Senator Rick Scott. Senator McConnell says he's ready to continue the fight after Republicans came up short in the Senate following the midterm elections.
Collectively, I think, had a good discussion about what happened in the election and what happens in the next election. And I think everybody in our conference agrees we want to give it our best shot to finish the job in Georgia and concentrate on that for the next month. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue to serve.
The vote came after the Senate Republican Conference rejected a motion to delay the leadership election. Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate today advanced a bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriages. This puts Congress on track to ensure such marriages are protected in federal law. The Senate voted to repeal the Clinton-era Defense of Marriage Act and require states to recognize all marriages that were legal where they were performed. If approved by the House, the new Respect for Marriage Act would also protect interracial marriages by requiring states to recognize legal marriages regardless of sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin. It's sentencing day for the man convicted of killing 6 people after deliberately running them over in his SUV at a Christmas parade in Wisconsin last year. First, the judge heard victim impact statements, including one from Brooke Sorensen, who lost her grandmother in the attack.
The things we will miss the most are not seeing her again, her smile, her laugh, being able to talk to her, and doing fun things with her. My sister and I pray every night for our Grammy and our family. Grammy, I will see you in my dreams, and I know you will be watching over me.
Altogether, 45 people delivered statements in court about how the tragedy changed their lives. Darrell Brooks was found guilty of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, and each count carries a mandatory life sentence. America is listening to Fox News.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact, Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
The happiest place on earth is getting hit by inflation.
Walt Disney is raising theme park prices again. Tickets are more expensive on more popular dates, including around the Christmas and New Year's holidays. Starting in December, entrance to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios Florida will cost as much as $189 a day. Disney's Animal Kingdom Park's one-day admission will remain the same from $109 to $159. Disney says it continues to focus on providing guests with the best, most memorable Disney experience with new attractions and offerings. Disney increased the cost of some Disneyland tickets in October.
That's Fox's Ginny Costola. After a spectacular launch early today at the Kennedy Space Center, an unmanned NASA spacecraft is heading for a rendezvous with the moon for the first time in 50 years. If all goes as planned, the Orion spacecraft will be propelled into a wide orbit around the moon before returning to Earth with a splashdown set off the California coast in 3 weeks. If all goes as planned, NASA hopes to send 4 astronauts around the moon on the next flight in 2024 and land humans on the moon again in 2025. Comedian Jay Leno remains hospitalized in Los Angeles after he was burned while working on one of his many cars over the weekend.
Jay Leno is doing well. However, his burns are more extensive than originally reported. Leno has already undergone one surgery and is scheduled for another later in the week. Dr. Peter Grossman, the director of Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital, said Leno was working underneath one of his cars. When the fire began, he was pulled out and rushed to the hospital.
His burns include his face, his hands, and his chest. The burns are fairly significant.
Grossman said he's in good spirits in the burn unit and is still under further treatment, but burn injuries are hard to predict.
That's Fox's Michelle Polino, and I'm Frank Botek. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and vicinity, and it's the look and feel of wintertime that continues on across the area till further notice. Big swirl to the atmosphere dropping into the lower Great Lakes region. The web of pressure lines are packed. The air is almost of the Arctic variety relative to the time of year, and of course the lake snowbelts are quite active with winter storm warnings and watches for big snows northwest Indiana, southwest lower Michigan. The backwash backside of this weather system as well generating some passing snow shower and flurry activity both for this morning and this afternoon. Could re-whiten and coat the ground in some spots. 35 the high. Northwest to west wind 8 to 16 and gusty. Snow shower and flurry lingers early on tonight down to 26 tomorrow. And into Friday, windy, unseasonably cold, mostly cloudy. A couple of passing snow flurries and a high temperature up near 34 tomorrow. 20 tomorrow night. 27 the high on Friday. A snow flurry and 31 on Saturday. Moderation next week as high temperatures by Tuesday and Wednesday head to the 40s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
It's showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Pipes is writing down a lot of stuff. I'm just going to go from the gut. And joining us now, Coach Bielma, Josh Whitman joining us now.
You get to say all the cool name drops.
Do it.
Brad Underwood, our guest.
College hoops.
How do you lose to Jackson State?
Call up every single person in the media that didn't put Kofi first team All-American. And I don't know, just play like clown noises.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. has been good, but he thinks the earth is flat, so I can't pick him.
Oh, boy.
Throw it up to Kofi, and he's just going to tear the rim off.
How is he so good? All right, Hans, I'm going to mute you for a while.
Okay.
Oh, there's a timeout on the court!
So what we want to do is build a same-game parlay that will win all of us some money.
Maybe Rondale Moore could be Cooper Kupp, but he's not. Is it Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that what IG means?
I think you have to win the Big Ten title to win Big Ten Player of the Year.
Woohoo!
Wow, what a bad take.
And good morning. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. It is a cold afternoon here in Philo. It is like snowed for like 48 straight hours. Not sticking anywhere, but it's actually kind of cool, Pipes, except that it's like 0 degrees out. I mean, it's cold outside, but I kind of like the idea of just seeing snow flurries every once in a while.
It is cool.
As long as it doesn't get too out of hand.
It makes you feel like it's basketball season for me, so
Yeah,
I
right.
like that. And then the thought of us, we probably like it a little bit more than other people, knowing we're about to get away.
That's a great
Because you're going
point.
to Florida
Yeah.
and I'm going to Vegas, so
Okay, that's touche on that.
those that have to stick it out like Kyle through the weekend and everything, maybe not as excited about the weather that's hit this area, but it does. I know you're a guy that gets into the Christmas mode a little earlier,
Big
on
time.
the earlier side. So I think even me, that's usually steadfast and no, not until after Thanksgiving, I'm not going to do it. Even I'm starting to break a little bit.
Okay.
Haley's like, let's decorate the house. I'm like, yeah, it looks like Christmas outside, so let's do it.
I love that. I love it. And really, if you're smart, you get that 1 weekend in November where you get all your Christmas decorations done. I don't know that everybody's done that yet. And now it's really cold.
Definitely not. No.
So this is going to be tricky for a lot of people unless the weather is going to heat up. I did look down at St. Pete Beach. It's like 62 degrees tomorrow. And I'm like, I was telling somebody today, I'm like, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. And he's like, well, it'll be 62 degrees warmer than us. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good point. I don't know that we're at 0 here, but that is a good point. So, hey, I'm sure we'll both enjoy it. T-Mobile Arena. Have you been?
I don't think so.
I couldn't remember if you had been to Vegas.
I've been to Vegas to cover a game.
Okay, I didn't remember
They
if
had
it was
one
there.
against UNLV.
Okay.
And there was actually, they didn't play it at UNLV's arena because they had a rodeo going on.
Oh.
I can't remember where they played that. Was it the
crew of
MGM?
Yellowstone was there, right? Was Rip there, like doing some stuff?
I don't know. That was beyond my level of expertise, but it might have been at the MGM or something like that. But this will be at T-Mobile, where you have the Vegas Knights, where they play. So,
oh, that's right.
It'll be cool to check that out.
I do remember you talking about that. So the way it works, Illinois plays Friday night, 8:30 against UCLA. Now that time can switch a little bit varying on how the first game goes. But the first game
like last night.
Yeah, exactly. So 8:30 is the expected, or that's the hopeful start time, but it could be later than that. So prepare for that. But it is a Friday night. Sunday, you'll either play at, I think, 2:30 or 4 or something in that range, or 2 and 4:30 or something. So it's one of those where, you know, you lose, you play early, you win, you play late, I would assume. The game Sunday.
I think it's actually I think the championship game is the first one.
Is it really? Oh, okay.
The championship game's at 2 and the consolation at 4:30.
I did not realize that. Okay, I'm glad you corrected me on that. I know.
I'll double check that.
I know
quick.
Both games, if you're into the DVR mode, both games are on ESPN on Sunday. Illinois Friday night plays on ESPNU. The earlier game is on ESPN2, the Baylor and Virginia, if you got all that. So the Baylor-Virginia game's ESPN2. Illinois Friday night is ESPNU, as in university, and then both games on ESPN on Sunday.
They are, and the championship game is at 2 on Sunday, consolation at 4:30.
I've never seen a tournament do that. Is that just to get the, like, here's your reward for winning, we're going to let you get out of here sooner?
I think so.
All right, not that anybody wants to get out of there. I was laughing with Kyle. Today I was kind of doing just a touch of research, as you just heard, on what channels the Illinois games are on. And Myron Metcalf, who writes for ESPN, who I've always enjoyed. I think he writes some great articles. Today on, like, the homepage of NCAA basketball, or maybe just the homepage of ESPN, he writes this article about, like, 6 upcoming tournaments in basketball that you won't want to miss. And I'm like, oh, well, good. That'll give me a little preview on Baylor and Virginia and also UCLA. And I look, and this tournament is not one of the 6. And I'm like, in fact, Kyle, can you research this real quick to find that article? And I was just laughing at some of the tournaments that he listed. And so then it says on there, well, these are on the ESPN networks. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe Illinois is not on ESPN. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. It is on ESPN. So I'm not sure how you look at 4 ranked teams that are about ready to tussle and you don't include that. Sorry, Myron. I think you just missed the ball.
I think you missed that one. Now, it is outside of the traditional window. You think the early season big tournaments are usually the week of Thanksgiving. This one's actually a little bit before, the weekend before Thanksgiving. So maybe that's what.
Maybe there's a caveat in there about that.
But
yeah.
We know Maui's always up there. You got
Yes.
the preseason NIT out in New York.
I don't think he had either one of those, too. So maybe there's
So what's going on?
Maybe there's a caveat.
Maui
in
has
what
to be
he
on.
wrote.
That's the easiest one. That's the free space in the middle.
I'll let Kyle kind of read I was one of those guys that jumped ahead and, didn't read the directions. And then at the end of the test, it was like, if you wrote your name on this paper, you flunk it automatically. And I was like, oh, crap, I wrote my name on the paper because I didn't read the direction at the beginning that said, don't write your name on this paper or you'll flunk. So maybe I just looked right through there to the games and said, what is he doing?
Was there the one in Cancun that is played in like a ballroom?
I remember when
There's
Illinois.
usually
Yeah.
a good field that goes down there for that.
What was the Illinois State connection with that tournament? Was Illinois State in a tournament in like the Bahamas that Illinois was in, or was that when Iki had joined Illinois and he hit a big shot there or something? There's some connection to ballroom.
They played Bradley, I think, and then they played.
Maybe it was Bradley. Maybe it was Bradley. It doesn't matter to the scheme of life, but I just remember.
This matters.
I remember like Kyle Wilson. Was on an Illinois team once. He came in with Dee and Darren and those guys. Everybody remembers him, right? He's like the other Brady Bunch guy that never was famous, or the other singer that didn't get included. But he made a shot or something in some ballroom in like Cancun or the Bahamas, or I don't know. We'll do some. Well, I got you guys both doing research.
We're just going to throw that all on Kyle's plate. So figure it out for us.
I mean, he's got 2 hours. So you just jump in whenever you find it, Kyle, and we'll let you go. Can I say this, Derek Piper, about this tournament this weekend? And I know that it's early in the season, so I get this. But the idea that you're going to play a ranked team on Friday and turn around and play a ranked team on Sunday, this is a perfect. And I know we always talk about the NCAA tournament, how a day off game is great preparation for the NCAA tournament. To me, this is preparation for a Sweet 16, where you're definitely playing 2 ranked teams, and I know that there are those teams that get through that weren't ranked, the surprises of the tournament. I get that, and that's what makes that tournament the best thing ever. But the idea that you're going to play a ranked UCLA team in the Sweet 16, if you will, and then if you turn around, you might play a number 5 Baylor in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four. I mean, I think that's pretty cool, and I wonder if this coaching staff approaches the tournament at all like that. Do they even mention that, you think, to these guys, or is it just we got enough on our plate, let's don't worrying about March right now?
I'm sure that there might be a mention of that, knowing that these are the type of teams you'll play later in the season if you advance to that second weekend, which has been elusive for this program here for a while now, since 2005. But that's a nice – now, I think that in terms of Illinois and really every team that's going to be out there, it's so early in the season that no one's going to be close to their finished product, which is what you see in March. But why not treat it as a little bit of a preview, a measuring stick for where you are ultimately nationally, and knowing that these are the type of teams you could really see again as far as a matchup or those that are like it in terms of how they're ranked. But, yeah, that's a good point. With UCLA being number 8, Illinois right now 19, we of course know the ceiling could be even a little bit higher for Illinois ultimately. This could be like a 2 versus 3 in that Sweet 16. You win, and you play the 1 seed Baylor in that region. So that's a fun way to look at it. I hadn't thought of it on that type of a way. I know that Brad mentioned that he likes that it's not the quick turnaround of one game and then play a game the next day. You get a little bit of a prep time there in between, but it is just like an NCAA tournament format.
I think last year, didn't they do the 1-game turnaround and then we lost? Is that right? Is that when we lost to Cincinnati?
Oh, okay. So, yep. When you played Cincinnati and then played Kansas State the next day. You lost the front end of that to Cincinnati and then ended up beating Bruce Weber's Kansas State squad.
Then you beat Bruce. That's right. Okay. We do know this. There's going to be 4 really good teams in Vegas.
Now you're going to see high-level competition, great players that are next-level guys as well. And there's some experience there, you know, and we'll see that in UCLA. I mean, obviously Tiger has been around forever. As has Hawkes. I mean, those are 2 guys that in their conference have as many college games as anybody under their belt. So, you know, that experience factor, we'll find out how important that is. We've got to go play really, really hard. We got to play very physical, and we got to step up to that challenge. And you know, that's the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing is how we handle that physicality, how we handle that toughness.
There you go, and it's true. I mean, obviously Illinois has not been challenged yet, and a lot of teams. I haven't looked at Virginia's. I know Virginia had a game canceled, obviously, for what was going on at the Virginia campus. So I don't know that all 3 of these teams, UCLA, Baylor, or Virginia, has actually had a challenge yet either.
They have not.
Okay, so
in Virginia, one of their games was against Monmouth, and we know
how
much of a challenge they were.
So we're all kind of going in the same boat, if you will, in terms of you haven't really played that first game. Brad Underwood had another bite about that secret scrimmage against Kansas and how important that was. And honestly, Derek, we talk about how Illinois hasn't really had in the regular season the official games that count. They haven't had any tough game. They've had 3 yawners, essentially. But they certainly did have that scrimmage against Kansas, and that is something that I think he's pretty excited that it helped prepare this team for something like they're about to face.
Right, in terms of facing a really talented team, one that is ranked in the top 10 and just knocked off Duke last night in the Champions Classic. Grady Dick is one of the top-rated freshmen in the country. Jalen Wilson, a really highly touted forward who's thought to be one of the better forwards in college basketball. Dwan Harris, a experienced point guard who won a national championship coming back from last year. So Kansas has a lot of talent. They have some experience. In terms of the actual point guard matchup is really a great preparation for seeing Tiger Campbell and whoever you're going to match up with in that second game out there in Vegas, whether it be Baylor or Virginia. So being able to get on the floor against a team that is in that similar range or even ranked a little bit higher than you are and is comparable to a UCLA or a Baylor or Virginia, that's a good initial test for your squad, and to be able to not just face 3 cupcakes and then this is what it's like to face a really good team. You kind of have some of that experience already based on the close scrimmage.
BU touched on that today.
I know our freshmen belong from that scrimmage. We learned a lot about ourselves. You know, I think we probably learned a lot watching that team last night. playing the Champions Classic and where we're at in that process. So I feel good about that. And, you always want to be, these first 3 contests gave us an opportunity to play a lot of people minutes, gain some confidence, grow. And I think they've served their purpose. They did all of those things and allowed us to be, have a better understanding of who we are.
There we go. And I think this is one of those games, Derek. I know. This will be one of those games that, as Brad mentioned today, you're going to get punched in the face. Not literally, but figuratively. You're going to have a UCLA run with guys like Tiger Campbell, as you mentioned, and you said this week, these are not only really good players, these are guys that have been around forever. These are the Matthew Myers, essentially, or the Terrence Shannons of the college basketball world, but they've done it for one team. And both of these guys, and I'm talking about Tiger and also Jaime Jaquez, my guy, and they have others. Don't get me wrong. They have other talent that we'll hear from Coach here in a minute on that. But they're going to do some things to you, right? And you've got to be prepared. And with a young team, now I know that it's a young team, and Illinois is also a team that hasn't played together much, and there's 2 separate issues there. But the youngness of the team, especially at the guard position, that scares me a little bit when that first punch comes at you.
I understand. Yeah, it is a little bit scary when you think about the experience that Tiger has and the fact that Jaden Epps and Sky Clark just haven't played in the type of ball games that Tiger has been in, and the fact that he's helped lead UCLA to a Final Four and was a starter on that team. Jaime Jaquez, as a senior, was on that squad as well, a very big focal point of the Bruins' deep run a couple of years ago. So the fact that UCLA has a little bit more of that cohesion, some more of that experience that's been together. We know that individually Matthew Meyer, Terrence Shannon have a lot of experience on their own. It's just for this group together, there's still more to navigate and to put the pieces together to where you even have some guys that have been in the tournament, and a guy like Matthew Myers won a national title. He just hasn't done it with these pieces around him. And there's some new pieces for UCLA as well, and that they have 2 McDonald's All-American freshmen in their starting lineup. Jalen Clark is a veteran too. He's now a junior and has worked his way through being a role player. Now looks like one of the breakout players in the Pac-12, if not college basketball. So UCLA, very talented. The fact that they've played together too, and yeah, for Illinois' guards to just, I think that in general, to see more athleticism, to see higher level talent, guys that aren't going to make the mistakes that Monmouth did or EIU or Kansas City. So
and defensively.
Yeah, defensively
to make it tougher on these guys.
Epps
isn't going to have wide open looks.
Couldn't get much easier than it was the other night against Monmouth. But yeah, absolutely. And that's things they're going to have to adjust to. But again, these are, on Illinois' side, really talented players, and they have the ability on paper to be able to compete with this kind of team. It's just whether they can make fewer mistakes and just be solid in a big-time environment with a lot of eyeballs on you.
The one guy we know has to step up for Illinois to do something special this weekend is Matthew Meyer. Today, Brad Underwood touched on why he thinks Matthew Meyer can do that, and we'll get to that next segment. Next segment as well, I'd love for you to break down UCLA a little bit, maybe not all 10, but certainly their starting 5 and what to expect from each one of those and how they could hurt Illinois. Also, if you've got a little bit of a preview on a Baylor or a Virginia team that we could possibly face on Sunday, I'd love to hear that next segment as well. We will not be here. There is no show the next 2 days. No show Thursday and Friday. You're going to be out of town. I'm going to be out of town. So we are skipping these 2 shows. Really appreciate Stevie allowing this, but obviously you got to work in Vegas. I just want some time off before high school basketball and high school baseball and everything else begins. So we're both getting out of Dodge. So no shows in the next 2 days. When we come back, we'll hear some more from Brad Underwood. Derek Piper will break down UCLA and what Illinois will be facing Friday night, and also a little bit on Baylor and Virginia. Kyle, you said you found the Myron Metcalf article. Is it Metcalf or is it Medcalf?
Medcalf, M-E-D.
Okay, I've always said Met, and I apologize to Myron. Again, I love his writing a lot of times. I think he does a great job for ESPN, but I just was confused. Like, can you go through some of the – first of all, is there a caveat in there that I'm missing?
There isn't. No, okay. It's titled 7 Early Season Men's College Tournaments to Watch, and the only thing it says is, here's your handy guide to some of the tournaments that will appear on the ESPN family of networks for the rest of 2022.
Maui is not on that.
Maui's not on there.
This Illinois tournament.
No. The first one you look at is the Charleston Classic with some heavy hitters such as Penn State, Virginia Tech, Furman, Colorado State, South Carolina in the field.
Derek, I would not have brought this up if I wouldn't have seen that and couldn't believe it myself. Go on down to
the Phil Knight Invitational on there?
That is.
That is on there.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is one that has only like 4 teams. It's like Cal State Fullerton or something. Maybe I read that wrong.
Well, the Wooden Legacy's on here. It has 4 teams: Fresno State, Washington, St. Mary's, and Vanderbilt.
What's going on?
I was like, you think he like printed that and sent it for publish, and then he was like, oh my God, I didn't put the Maui invitation. Oh crap, I didn't put the Vegas one in there. I mean, again, the caveat is that these are on ESPN. Well, so is Maui.
The other ones.
So is this one this weekend. I'm sorry, Myron. Man, again, Myron Metcalf does a good job, but he missed the point of this. Unless he just assumes we all know about Maui and we all know about this weekend. So here's some other ones to look at.
Maybe. He didn't say that
But
anywhere.
he did have a tournament that, of course, has Duke and these teams.
They studied the charts, the viewing charts, and said, all right, these ones in the past haven't got a lot of love, so we got to give attention to those. We know people will watch Maui.
You just nailed it. it.
I'm just trying to find a way that
it's all about the ratings, baby.
Why a Penn State Furman, whatever the heck else is going to be on as the headliner of that.
I just happened to see that today, and I'm like, I got to bring that up on the show. All right, we're going to hear more from Brad Underwood, including why he thinks Matthew Meyer could take a big jump this weekend. Also, Derek Piper will break down UCLA and the other 2 teams in this tournament.
As well as some other big tests for Illinois this non-conference, like Lindenwood, Alabama A&M, and Bethune-Cookman before New Year's.
That'd be funny if you come back, skip UCLA completely, and go right into Lindenwood and what they can do and how elite and dangerous that team is, because you know Brad will find a reason for that. All right, if you want to weigh in, 359-2255. Love you, Brad. 359-2255. You want to use that 217, of course. If you can get on Twitter and want to follow us there, it's at The Drive, 93.5. I'm at Lante ESPN. See you.
I'm at D Piper 247. Our podcasts are on all platforms: iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can also go to tayandpiper.podbean.com. Stream us live at steviej.com, steviejay.com. You can watch us live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Just search Tay and Piper or The Drive 93.5.
Derek, I have one small goal on this 4-day getaway: to regain my voice. I don't know what has happened to it, but I haven't had it in a month and a half. It would be nice to have my voice back. I know a lot of it was tailgating. The old Monday voice. Maybe I'm just that old that the Monday voice is now still the Wednesday voice, and I don't get better until Friday. Kind of like Fred Wakefield said playing in the NFL. I didn't feel good until Friday, and then I went out Sunday and beat myself up again. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what's happening to me. So hopefully Monday, when I'm back and you're back, my voice will be back to 100%. But we'll see. We'll see if that even happens. Yeah, we can hope. That's exactly right. All right, we are back. It is The Drive.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands, owner of Lands Inc. You never realize how much you rely on the plumbing in your home until something goes wrong. A small leak can end up with a big repair if it's not taken care of right away. At the first sign of trouble, visit landsinc.com. While there, learn more about plumbing, drain cleaning, and underground solutions. At Lands Inc., our commitment is to you, the customer. We look forward to having you be a part of the Lands family. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
This is Starla Carr with Provident Financial Group. There's no one-size-fits-all retirement plan. Finding the right plan for you depends on many factors. The good news is we can help you improve your retirement readiness, whatever your situation. Contact us today at 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Kelsey Furniture in downtown Tuscola sells Tempur-Pedic beds. What's it like? I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he has a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
Kelsey Furniture, downtown Tuscola.
It's a totally Christmas winter wonderland at Prairie Gardens. Ornaments, decor, wreaths, garlands, and so much more, all ready now, along with brand new savings. This week, save 50% off all Christmas bushes. Select large Christmas candle jars are $6.97. All furniture, save 10%. Plus, find your perfect artificial Christmas tree with the largest selection around and very best tree guarantee at Prairie Gardens, your Christmas destination for over 50 years.
If you want a steak, I mean a steak, prepared the way you want it, you've got to go to Long Branch Steakhouse. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. It's been over a year since I was introduced to Donnie at the Long Branch Steakhouse in Gifford. And when I want a great steak, that's where I go. And the sides, the Brussels sprouts, the mac and cheese, and the salad with Donnie's secret frog dressing. Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford, open Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. There's always room for the Long Branch Steakhouse.
Immerse yourself and your family in the excitement of the holiday season. Join us for the 27th Annual Festival of Trees, presented by the Junior League of Champaign-Urbana on November 19th and 20th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Champaign. You can enjoy beautifully decorated trees and wreaths to bid on, check out Storytime with Santa and Mrs. Claus on Saturday morning, and get a holiday photo with Kristen Darling Photography for only $20. Check out festivalofTreesCU.com for more information.
Crossroads Contractor Supply, bringing us our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month.
Officer Pankow, recently responsible for a drug arrest that resulted in a large quantity of illegal narcotics, seized including over 1,100 LSD doses, ecstasy, mushrooms, and cocaine. You probably are able to identify the various drugs by now, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't hard in this case, just with the quantity of it. You know, that was one of the bigger drug busts that I've been a part of. I'm glad that those drugs are off the street.
How long did you work on that?
Well, it was about a 12-hour call, to be honest with you. We started, it was around 5 p.m. maybe, and the arrest and the interviewing and all of that lasted a couple hours, and then the processing of the evidence and the report writing and all of the boring stuff took another.
But you have to do all that.
For sure, yeah.
For the evidence and everything else. And
Crossroads Contractor Supply, delivering within a 150-mile radius of Champaign-Urbana, supporting our Law Enforcement Official of the Month.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg. Catch Lon, Tay, and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
I'm not looking right now, Derek Piper at the U of I Illini Link text line. Have any of our listeners helped us with the ballroom shot back in the day? Like Kyle Wilson, John Eakey.
We had an old friend text us.
Oh.
Trevor Valise.
Oh.
Mentioning the UAB Iowa State tournament they played in. That was back in 2015. That was the Emerald Coast Classic.
Okay.
Down in Florida. Now, I did some research. Cancun, you were correct. Illinois played Illinois State.
Okay.
In Cancun 2011. So listen to this field down in Cancun. You had Illinois State played Rutgers in the opener. Illinois State won that. I'm guessing what was an upset. Maybe it wasn't.
I think it was.
And then Illinois played Richmond. They beat Richmond and then outlasted Illinois State 63-59.
Oh.
Illinois' leading scorer in that game, Sam Maniscalco.
Yes, Sam Maniscalco, baby.
And I was remembering when they met up with Bradley the week of Thanksgiving. They were playing in a loaded Chicago Invitational Challenge where they started with Miami of Ohio, beat them by 2, and then beat Bradley in the second game by 4.
Cow.
So that was back in 2006.
Wow. Bradley had a couple of years where they did well in the.
They did.
Maybe they were good. Sam Maniscalco. Hold on.
Sammy, ice, baby.
We had a intro song.
Ice,
for Sam.
Hey, yo, stop. Turn up the dial and listen.
Oh, I bet
Sam
Jeremy
is
would
back
love to
for
hear
another
this one.
hoop session. Line of hoops problem, yo, he'll solve it. Turn up the volume while Sam basketballs it.
While Sam basketballs it. Oh, that's fantastic, man. You said that name, and I'm like, hold on a second. I know we have an intro to Sam Maniscalco. That's fantastic.
It's more fantastic than having, no offense to him, Sam Maniscalco as your starting point guard.
I remember we were doing a show live at Murphy's on campus, and that news had broken that week, and we actually had him on via the phone. And I think I said something like, Sam, am I going to be able to count on you for like 15 and 9 assists? And I was like, Sam's like, whoa, I mean, I'll try. You know, it's one of those. It's like, okay, Lon, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. He's a pretty good little player.
Solid.
Yeah, solid. That's a good call. All right, another kid that Illinois needs, that kind of sounds like derogatory. I don't mean to say that. Another player that Illinois needs to be solid or better than solid is Matthew Meyer. Does he need to be solid or better than solid for Illinois to be really good this weekend?
Probably a little bit better than solid.
Okay.
I think solid over the course of an entire game would be an improvement from what we've seen here recently. But if he was to play, he doesn't have to be a star. He doesn't have to be Terrence Shannon and to have two guys that are going to go for 25 plus. And he doesn't have to do that this weekend for Illinois to win a game or possibly two. I find it hard to imagine them having a great weekend without him taking a big step forward based on what we've seen in the first three games. Now, if Shannon's going to be playing at the level that he is, we know what Coleman Hawkins can do, RJ Melendez. You have a number of other guys to make up for this early part of the schedule where Meyer's still trying to find his footing. But knowing how important he is, big picture to your team, knowing the fact that you're going to have freshmen who haven't played in these type of matchups, and usually it's hard to count on them collectively to be that great. It can be kind of a roller coaster ride, especially when you face some of these tests early on and you're put on the big stage for the first time. You really need Matthew Meyer to be someone that steps up and makes shots and also is a lot better defensively, especially knowing the athleticism and shot making that you're going to see out of these teams out in Vegas.
Brad Underwood met with the media today. He thinks Matthew Meyer can do just that.
I feel really good about Terrence and Coleman, and I've gained a lot of confidence in Sky, as I have Dane. And there's always a guy or two who surprise you in those moments that just relish those opportunities. We know Matt has done it. Matt's had 25 in an NCAA tournament game. You know, he's getting his sea legs back under him, and I expect we'll see a much better Matt than we've seen to this point in these big games.
What gives you that confidence to see that?
Oh, I've seen him do it before. I've seen him do it in practice, and it's just a matter of him going out and having one of those nights. And you know, he was in the gym yesterday and walked through the gym, and he's in here soaking wet, shooting balls, and on a day off. So usually good things happen to those who work hard, and he's putting in the time.
There you go. That is Brad Underwood talking about Matthew Meyer. So certainly he's a guy that we talked about yesterday, that not only is he not putting up the points, rebounds, just the stats that we expect, he just doesn't even look like the Matthew Meyer that we've noticed, especially the last couple of seasons, and especially last season for Baylor.
Right. I think physically you're still waiting to see him get back to what looks like 100%. I know that Brad has said that his back is good, but it's just him getting in better shape, peak shape in terms of your physical condition in games. And I think that the last game there were moments where he played 20 minutes, and that was the most he's played so far this season. There were stretches where he looked visibly fatigued and tired, and I think that part of that is also just, having the reps of getting out there and getting back into game shape too. But I think athletically he still looks a little bit of a step slow.
Would agree.
Haven't seen the same type of athletic movements that we came accustomed to watching him at Baylor, other than the acrobatic finish and transition against Kansas City. So
he was so active on that Baylor team.
He really was.
All over the place.
Yep. And I don't know whether you can just flip the switch and have that come back.
I don't either.
This weekend. So I think that's a big storyline is like, how does that work itself back and how quickly? But also, even if he's not going to be a full 100% physically, can he get the shot going? Can he be a little bit more engaged defensively? Can he do what's within his physical capability right now to still have a pretty good outing? And while, again, we've talked about it, his pedigree, his resume says he can do it. His resume says that he's one of the guys on your roster. He's going to step on the floor against a top 10 team, and that's going to feel really regular for him because based on the type of squads that Baylor had, playing the Big 12, going deep in the tournament, he's seen it all.
Yeah.
He's not going to be rattled by that, but just getting him in rhythm is still something that needs to happen, and we'll see. It's something that you wish you could have seen a little bit more in terms of flashes in the early games. Maybe he's a guy that can just show up and get it done, but indications right now are that he's still got a ways to go to make that happen.
We've seen transfers come in. Plummer last year. Obviously, Terrence Shannon has hit the ground running this year. So it's not necessarily that when they transfer in that it just takes a while for every player, but maybe it does for certain players. Brad Underwood today had an interesting clip on that, talking about how transferring is one of those things that, it can be a chore.
There's nothing easy about transferring. Transferring's really, really, really hard. And when you're 4 years ingrained in one system and the terminology and, it's not an easy transition. I'm probably utilizing him in different ways than Scott did. And so it's not an easy fix. And it's just relying on your process, getting in the gym working, gaining confidence. It's a different locker room. So I think transferring is really hard, and some do it easier than others, but still the process is pretty challenging.
Yeah, well, there you go. And again, guys like Terrence Shannon, they don't seem to be having a problem with it. So it makes me think that there is something else that just isn't getting Matthew Meyer to that. I feel like we're almost putting it too much under a microscope right now. Like, in other words, if he comes out this weekend and does his kind of thing, then we're all going to look back and be like, why were we worried about scoring 100 points and Matthew Meyer only played 20 minutes? But it's natural to worry about that because you hope he's one of your best players on this team.
He was recruited to be. He was tabbed as one of the best transfers in college basketball. And again, I think big picture for this team, he's got to play a pretty big role. Again, you have the talent as far as the collection of it to where he doesn't have to be this dynamite scorer. And yes, I mean, even Ty Rodgers is a guy that I know that some are already pushing and saying, why don't you plug Ty into the starting lineup, or why don't you play a big lineup, put Dane in there and let Matt come off the bench and try to feel his way through it. But yeah, there will be kind of that, it's the calming effect of if he goes out to Vegas, looks the part or close to it in terms of what we've come to expect of him off of what he did at Baylor. And that would be a great thing to kind of just be like, it wasn't a big concern, and here he is. But I understand why it's under a microscope because that's how good of a player he is.
Sure.
And also kind of his importance to Illinois. To Brad's point, like Alfonso Plummer didn't come in lighting the world on fire.
Yeah,
I looked
true.
His first 4 games at Illinois, he was 5 of 18 from 3. So a guy that made 1 3 a game, didn't score in double figures his first 4 games, and then exploded against Kansas City and hit a bunch of threes, and that was really the start of him becoming one of the best, if not the best, three-point shooter in the Big Ten. Even Jacob Grandison, who had a sit-out year, started that season for Illinois coming off the bench and played really sparingly. I think it was 39 total.
He did.
It was like 39 total minutes in his first 8 high major games. So you're talking about 5 minutes a game against high major competition. So
those are good points.
It does take time for some guys. On the other side of it, Terrence Shannon not having any problems. Matt did get here later in the summer. He's had the back. There are reasons why this isn't going swimmingly right off the bat, but also I think that Brad's supporting his guy. He's trying to give him confidence, and we'll really have a great judge of it once you really get tested and kind of see where he's at, because you would think based on the level of competition that you faced, Meyer should have been really, really good, maybe even dominant. You would worry that kind of his struggles in those games, now you step up to UCLA's level, what does that mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Those are two good names that you bring up. There's the low point of Austin Hutcherson, who never did get going. And then maybe Terrence Shannon's going to be the high point of that. And then in between the two names you mentioned, Jake not doing a lot for Puke either. Missing some shots.
He went over last night, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, I root for that dude. But when you put on a Duke uniform, I no longer root for you. Sorry, Jake. I root for you here. I liked you here. I hope you go for the season at Duke. I'm dead serious. All right, when we come back, Derek Piper will give you the insights into UCLA, what to expect out of the Bruins, and then we'll look a little bit ahead of Virginia and also Baylor, two teams. You're going to hook up with one of those teams on Sunday, and then Brad Underwood kind of mentions how all four teams in this thing are really good at defense. We'll do all that next. If you want to weigh in, again, 217-359-2255. It is The Drive.
Find your perfect artificial Christmas tree at Prairie Gardens. With so many styles and sizes from which to choose, the area's largest tree selection is waiting for you. Your expert will guide you to a tree that's just right, from the lights to the style to the just perfect size, at prices you'll love and the very best tree guarantee. 'Tis the season to find your perfect artificial Christmas tree at Prairie Gardens. Extraordinary gardening, home decor, and totally Christmas.
Looking for a custom design that stands out for your business? Wanting to get your vehicle wrapped but just don't know where to go? It's Aftershock Decals and Designs. From vehicle wraps to building designs, Aftershock creates designs that make heads turn. Heck, they wrap all of Land's heating, cooling, and plumbing trucks and vans. The one where Troy Lands is waving, that's Aftershock. Aftershock Decals and Designs. Heck, they also do signs, banners, even amazing coffee tumblers. Check them out at AftershockDD.com.
Hey, this is Ben Grice from the Humble Hog in downtown Paxton. And grilling season, it's here. Are you ready? If you're a seasoned barbecue pro or a total amateur, take your meal to the next level. We've got our sauces bottled and ready to go. We've got rub, the best spices to take your barbecue to the next level. Or if you've got a big crowd, we even have extra meat. Dine in or take it home. It's super quick. You can order our sauces and our rub online at humblehogbbq.com.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B at Stevie J Broadcasting, and you are listening to the amazing ESPN Radio 93.5.
Oh, it's the... I haven't heard this one. Well, get to it. There we go. All right, it is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Derek Piper. Kyle, the intern, is here. Maybe we'll hear from him in the second hour as well, but probably not. All right, Derek Piper, it is time to break down. Not Mercedes-Benz, as we take a commercial in the NCAA tournament. But
there were so many. I don't know if you were watching last night, the Michigan State-Kentucky game.
Or is it Buick?
Yeah, Buick.
I think it's Buick.
I don't know.
No, I did
think
see
it might be
some of that.
Mercedes-Benz.
Maybe it is Mercedes.
So many timeouts late in the game.
Oh.
And then you just keep reloading with timeouts. You go into another overtime.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, boy, here we go.
Oh, boy.
These games take forever.
Give me 1 minute on that game. Michigan State wins it in double overtime over Kentucky. And, of course, Kansas, you mentioned earlier, gets it done against Duke. What about Michigan State that is impressing you? Because they lost by 1 to Gonzaga.
Yep.
So this is a team last year that kind of lived in the middle area of the Big Ten. I didn't expect him to make a big jump up the Big Ten, but from seeing what they've done against Gonzaga and now a Kentucky team, when Sheboy, by the way, went 22-18 or something, what do you think of Michigan State? Is this a team that maybe could play for that Big Ten title?
It hasn't been a team that I've been super high on coming into the season. Now they do have a nice tandem at guard with A.J. Hogarth, Tyson Walker. Malik Hall and Joey Hauser are veterans.
Walker was so good last year.
Yeah, he played pretty well and showed up in some big moments late down the stretch. One of my big concerns for them, one is, do they have a star? Do they have a go-to player late in the game that you can really get a bucket from? That was a thing that was an issue for them in closing the game out against Gonzaga. And last night seemed like in regulation, Kentucky and Michigan State struggled in terms of being able to close the game out. But Matty Sissoko, the guy who broke Io's nose, not a popular figure around here, he's been really good.
Okay.
and I forgot, and I didn't realize this till I looked him up, was a former top 50 prospect.
Oh, wow.
And now is looking the part, very athletic, big man, catch lobs off the pick and roll, be a very energetic defender and protect the rim. So the way that he's played, I think he had like 16 points, 8 boards last night for them. He was very productive in the Gonzaga game as well. For them to get that out of their 5-man, along with some of their other pieces, I still have some questions about them big picture, but they do look like that gritty, physical, good defensive Michigan State squad of old, and they do have some veterans as well. So I'd be surprised if they win the league title, but then again, I mean, a team like Illinois, Ohio State, Iowa, they've got some new pieces and lost a lot more than Michigan State. Well, Michigan State lost quite a bit too, but they have some returnees and some good cohesion.
Let's not forget Tom Izzo knows how to coach too. So, I mean, that's an important factor. All right, the Bruins. Mick Cronin. Brad Underwood, friends with Mick Cronin. He's friends with everybody, I would assume. Jaime Jaquez, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
I have liked him he's been my guy for 18 years, it seems like. He's very productive as a 6'7" kind of wing that's strong. He can work inside. He can work out. He gets other guys involved. Tiger Campbell, we know, is good. Those are the two headliners that I know about, Derek. But talk about those two. That's the stupidest way to start a question. Let me know what you think of those two, and also what else the Bruins will be bringing to the court Friday night when Illinois tackles them.
Jaquez is one of the best wings in college basketball. You said it. He can do just about everything offensively, really skilled. And he's also an all Pac-12 defender, so he's a two-way player that is projected right now as an early second-round pick in next year's draft. Tiger Campbell is played a ton of basketball. He's been a 4-year starter at UCLA. Came in as a really good defender, good facilitator. His scoring at first early on in his career was lacking, but now he's developed himself into a very capable three-point shooter. Shot 40% from three last year and is making them early on this season as well. So he's been relied on a little bit more to go get his own, and he has shown that he's capable of, at least early so far this season. Jalen Clark has been fantastic for them early on. He was a guy that I was very high on coming out of high school, who just a tough, physical, great defender. Already had that reputation of being one of the better defenders out in the Pac-12. Now he's added to his offensive game where he just hit 5 threes for them in the last game. He's a stat sheet stuffer. He's one that he kind of reminds me. He's a better jump shooter than Ty Rodgers, but kind of reminds me of like a veteran Ty Rodgers in that he's kind of built like a linebacker. He's a good athlete. He's tough. He'll guard. He'll go get rebounds, and now he's starting to score it as well. And then there are 2 McDonald's All-Americans who are starters. Amari Bailey, athletic, 6'5" guard, who's projected
6'5" guard.
6'5" guard, projected late in the first round right now. And he was like number 10 overall in the class as far as a prospect. And Adem Bona, 5-star. Adem Bona.
Bona, okay. Mr. Bona.
6'9", really athletic, big man, rim runner, finishes above the rim, energy guy, will hit the glass and block shots. He's actually projected higher than Bailey. He's a mid-first round pick projecting right now on ESPN, also on the Athletic. So he's drawn some comparisons to Clint Capella.
Okay, well.
That'll be a really interesting matchup between him and Coleman Hawkins.
I was going to say that'll be Coleman, right? How's their depth?
It's not the best, although they do bring off the bench David Singleton, who's 45% career three-point shooter.
Okay.
And he's a fifth-year guy. He's played in a lot of games. In terms of their big guys, Mac Etienne, remember that name?
Oh, I do.
Just hasn't really – he hasn't been healthy. Huh? He's still there. It hasn't really clicked for him. So he's one that's played very sparingly so far in his career. But
didn't he spit on somebody?
He did, yeah.
That's right.
Was that last year?
Yeah. Is he related to Travis?
I don't believe so.
Okay. That's just crazy. You have 2 ETN names, and they're not – all right, so that's UCLA. Not a ton of depth, but certainly as good of a starting
star
five.
Power in their starting five.
Baylor and Virginia, real quick. What can you tell us? What do you expect there? Baylor to win that game?
I would expect Baylor.
Okay.
Virginia does have a lot of depth. If you're talking about teams that on one side might not be as deep, Virginia, with the fact they brought back all 5 starters, and they went and added Ben Vanderplas from Ohio, 6'8" forward who
Our guy.
we're familiar with. He's a pretty good player. Isaac McNeely was like a top 50 guard. They added another Ryan Dunn, who's a freshman who can score it well. So they've got the ability to go 8, 9. I wouldn't say maybe 10 deep, but 9 deep. We know Tony Bennett's team's very disciplined.
No doubt.
It's only been 2 games where they're shooting 48% from 3. Wow. So a good shooting team, good passing team, good defensive squad. They'll be very sound. Probably don't have the star power as some of these other teams in terms of their top-level players. But Jaden Gardner's one to watch. Is a physical 6'7" forward that can do some different things too. Baylor, great guard play. Adam Flagler's now moved into a point guard role.
Still there, okay.
He's still there. The transfer from, was he a Presbyterian, I think? Really good three-point shooter. He's been there since they won the national title.
Yeah, but you're right. I think it was.
I think it was like a Presbyterian
That's a good
transfer.
call, yeah.
Three-point shooter. LJ Cryer is a good scorer, shoots the 3. And then Keontae George, of all the talent that's going to be out there in Vegas, Keontae George is the highest graded draft pick right now. A freshman, 5-star guard who right now is projected as a lottery pick.
Wow.
And he's been really, really good. Someone that's averaging, like, off the top of my head, like 16, 7, and 7.
Holy cow.
So he's fantastic. They also added Jalen Bridges, transfer from West Virginia, 6'7" forward. Flo Thomba's still playing center for them.
Is he really?
He doesn't put up a whole lot of stats, but he is a guy that they like in terms of how much area he can cover defensively, rebound, and like a Scott Drew team, super tough, hit the offensive glass, shoot the 3 well, and are very versatile defensively.
I wonder if guys like Meyer and Dane Danger want to face Baylor. Or would they be okay
I'm sure Dane does.
Yeah? How about Meyer? That'd be tricky.
That would be a little tricky.
I wonder how Baylor fans take him, knowing that he won a national title with them. I mean, I can't imagine, like, Illinois wins the national title, and who would be a comp to that? Coleman, maybe? And all of a sudden, Coleman, like, transfers and goes and plays somewhere, and then you play him. It'd be weird.
It would be.
So it'll be interesting to see if that's going to happen.
I'm sure there's going to be some sour feelings probably on the Baylor side.
I would
agree.
agree.
At least amongst their fan base. Because on the outside of it, you'd be like, what reason would you possibly have for leaving other than maybe stepping into more of a starring role? I mean, he had a lot of opportunity last year to be one of their main guys, and now they're probably looking on paper, how are things working for you at Illinois? We're averaging 5 points and 3 rebounds.
Right.
So one thing with Baylor in terms of a concern is depth of the 5.
Okay.
Jonathan Chachua is hurt.
Oh.
So behind him, there's a lot of questions of their 5-man playing behind Flo Thamba. So in that second unit, Dane might look to feast on.
Okay.
He would like the opportunity to feast on Baylor and to show that he's a different player than what Baylor had when he was hurt, and then, of course, early on last season.
That tight end of a guy is not still there, right?
No, Mark Vital's not there.
That's all I wanted to hear, because that dude. All right, one last from Brad Underwood. He's mentioning, Joey Wagner asks him about just this loaded field, essentially, they're getting ready to play here.
Well, you guys can play offense, too, but it's 4 really good defensive teams out there. Is there something exciting about that, or would it be more exciting to watch from afar?
I don't know. I think you got 4 teams that have figured out, Virginia's won a national championship, Scott's won one. I think, Mick's been to a Final Four. They get there because of their defense. They get there because of what they do. And, we like to think we're in that category. And, we've been one of the top 10 defensive teams here the last few years. And we like to think we're in that category. So, offense becomes much harder and much more challenging. You got to have guys who can beat you off the dribble, and yet, it becomes a game of mistakes on the defensive side, not just offensively. But you can't make them and give them easy gifts. You can't give up offensive rebounds. Your transition D has to be really good. So it's all those points are valid, and team that does those things the best will probably be 2-0 coming out of there.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands, owner of Lands Inc. Is your plumbing system showing signs of cracks, sewer water infiltrating the basement wall? How about the things you can't see, like your underground drain and sewer pipes? A Lands sewer camera inspection and exclusive pipelining process can restore old pipes to like new quality with very little intrusion of your yard, and most projects can be completed in a day. Once installed, this will give you peace of mind that your underground drain and sewer pipes will be protected from root and water infiltration and increase the structural integrity with a one-piece liner. Visit landsinc.com to learn more. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
It's a totally Christmas winter wonderland at Prairie Gardens. Ornaments, decor, wreaths, garlands, and so much more, all ready now, along with brand new savings. This week, save 50% off all Christmas bushes. Select large Christmas candle jars are $6.97. All furniture, save 10%. Plus, find your perfect artificial Christmas tree with the largest selection around and very best tree guarantee at Prairie Gardens, your Christmas destination for over 50 years.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's clear to hurdle. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Senate moves forward with legislation protecting same-sex marriage.
The Respect for Marriage Act is on track to win final Senate approval as soon as this week after overcoming a filibuster testing procedural vote.
Passing this bill is as personal as it gets for many of us in this chamber.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer prioritized the legislation codifying Supreme Court precedent. 12 Republicans joined in support, including North Carolina's Tom Tillis.
Same-sex couples will continue to have the right to get married, now without the fear of government intervention.
The legislation also includes protections for religious institutions opposed to recognizing or performing same-sex marriages. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Mitch McConnell has survived a leadership challenge from Florida's Rick Scott and will remain Senate Republican leader. McConnell talked about what he feels went wrong for Republicans during the midterms.
We underperformed among voters who did not like President Biden's performance among independents and among moderate Republicans.
And McConnell says Republicans now need to concentrate on Georgia. The runoff election there is set for next month. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the U.S. agrees with initial reports that yesterday's incident where a missile landed in Poland, killing 2 civilians, was not intentional.
We're still gathering information, but we have seen nothing that contradicts President Duda's preliminary assessment that this explosion was most likely the result of a Ukrainian air defense missile that unfortunately landed in Poland.
There had been concerns early on that Russia had sent the missile, which could have triggered a response from NATO. Wall Street, the Dow lost 39. America is listening to Fox News.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
An update on the health of a longtime late-night host after he was burned earlier this week.
Jay Leno is doing well. However, his burns are more extensive than originally reported. Leno has already undergone one surgery and is scheduled for another later in the week. Dr. Peter Grossman, the director of Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital, said Leno was working underneath one of his cars when the fire began. He was pulled out and rushed to the hospital.
His burns include his face, his hands, and his chest. The burns are fairly significant.
Grossman said he's in good spirits in the burn unit and is still under further treatment, but burn injuries are hard to predict. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
For the first time in 50 years, a space capsule is making its way toward the moon. The spacecraft, with 3 test dummies aboard, launched on top of NASA's new moon rocket early this morning. It's going to cost more to visit Walt Disney World.
Walt Disney is raising theme park prices again. Tickets are more expensive on more popular dates, including around the Christmas and New Year's holidays. Starting in December, entrance to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios Florida will cost as much as $189 a day. Disney's Animal Kingdom Park's one-day admission will remain the same from $109 to $159. Disney says it continues to focus on providing guests with the best, most memorable Disney experience with new attractions and offerings. Disney increased the cost of some Disneyland tickets in October. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
Stan, Sitch, Convo, and Faux Hawk. Just some of the words added to the official Scrabble Players Dictionary. They join more than 100,000 words of 2 to 8 letters now in the book. The book was last updated in 2018 through a long-standing partnership between Hasbro and Merriam-Webster. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check.
I literally just create madness.
Boiler up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over! I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer yeah, salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs. Oh, yeah. Good evening. It is cold. It is flurries. I mean, not that bad, but I see it on the windows outside our studios here in Philo, Illinois. Derek Piper, you put it perfectly. Between at our break there, you put it perfectly about our weather.
What's that?
You said that you're not ready this early to be warming your car up.
No.
I mean, this is just I don't mind a little snow or whatever, but give me like 40 degrees in snow. I don't need it feels like it's -4 out. I know it's not, but
can you have snow at 40 degrees? Does it have to be freezing?
I don't know.
Just at the
I think you can have. Can you? No, maybe not. I think what happens is a lot of times when it snows, it warms up. Then remember you'll have that sunny day the next day where it melts and it's actually like 42, 45 degrees and there's not a lot of wind. And it's like, this is pretty. But this right now is not.
The snow doesn't bother me.
I don't care. Yeah.
It's pretty to look at, but then you go outside and it's like, oh boy, this stinks.
It totally does.
Can I throw out 2 points real quick?
Hans just said it has to be freezing for snow to occur. I mean,
thank you, Hans.
It's the precipitation part of that, but we appreciate Hans checking in. What else did he say? Let's see. Shake my head. He started with, oh, come on. And then he said a bad word. Look at this word he threw out at us. Now that he's not here.
He put that on plural, too.
Like he's yelling at you. And then he put LOL, just kidding. I think I'm done. I'm blocking Hans.
I'm done with you, Hans. I'm done.
Hans is being blocked. Oh, he just sent a heart. Never mind.
Okay.
He's safe. All right, what were you going to say?
I need to get, if I knew how, I would get Boiler Up off the intro.
Yeah.
I would understand that there's probably some people who don't want to hear that anymore.
Or maybe we should have to hear it.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe for our... I don't know what word I'm going for. Not sanity, maybe we just should take the hit and have to hear you say Boiler Up.
I just don't want to be blamed for saying, because I said Boiler Up for a month, maybe 2 months solid, and then Purdue comes
that.
in here and wins too.
We did kind of make that a thing.
And really quickly, I kind of brought this up in the break. Did you see Jimmy Garoppolo courtside of the Warriors game?
I did not, but what you told me that followed that question did not surprise me.
He was greeted by a handful of members from the Warriors dance team, handshakes and fist bumps. George Kittle sitting right next to him, no real attention. So I had this thought in mind, and we don't have to go on a huge tangent on this, but I'm curious in your thoughts. Would you rather be an average starting – would you be more happy in life if you were an average starting quarterback in the NFL and elite on the look side, or would you be more happy if you were elite as a starting quarterback in the NFL and average on the look side?
That is a great question.
Happiness.
217-359-2255. I think I'd want to be elite quarterback. And just give me decent looks.
It's got to be average.
Oh, it's average looks.
Because isn't Jimmy like an average NFL starting quarterback?
Yeah, that's a good call.
Maybe depending on the day. Could be a little above, a little below.
So you look like Aaron Rodgers, and you're Aaron Rodgers. I mean, basically, you're Aaron Rodgers. Is he a good-looking dude? No, he's not, is he?
No.
Especially with his shirt off in Hawaii. I mean, I don't know what he was doing there for a week, but would be nice to look like Jimmy Garoppolo, though. Like for instance, Kyle, have you ever had the Illinois walk up in Orange Crush and just give you fist bumps?
No, not yet.
That could happen. I'm not saying Kyle's a good-looking dude. I mean, that could happen to you. But, yeah, like when I was in college, I didn't have the Saluki Shakers coming up giving me fist bumps during, while I was sitting press row. So I guess I'm average. And I'm not elite at anything. So thanks, Derek. Thanks for bringing that.
That's not what I was trying to get at. Yeah, I mean, the answer as a
reminding me that
competitive person is the elite quarterback. But I think that Jimmy's living a pretty good life, too.
I have zero talent at anything. I appreciate that reminder. I can drink beer with the best of them. I'm pretty proud of that. I guess.
I've seen it. I agree.
I've seen it. Probably not something to be proud of. What would you rather be? The elite quarterback or the elite look?
Do you agree that Jimmy's elite looks-wise, or is he just...
Oh, why? Yeah. I mean, if you've got... Yes.
So that was a proper analogy.
Yes. I think I'd rather be the elite quarterback.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. I think you're going to be fine in the other category. True. If you're that.
That's true. It's just worth bringing up.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you look at a guy like Tony Romo that came from Eastern as well. They not only produce good-looking dudes, they produce good quarterbacks. So there you go. Good for them. Good for them down there. All right, I've got another question for you and for Kyle. Illinois has a chance this weekend to go 3-0, which would maybe be the best weekend that's ever happened at Illinois, because you'd have to consider you're upsetting probably 2 top 10 basketball teams and upsetting the number 3 in the college football playoff rankings football team in the country. So essentially you're upsetting, let's say, 3 of the top 10 teams in the country in both basketball and football if you go 3-0. Illinois could also go 0-3 legitimately, and I don't think anybody would panic because, again, you're playing 3. Now Virginia's ranked, I think, top 20, but still top 15. So if you lose both basketball games in Vegas and you lose to Michigan, it's not like you're sitting there panicked, right?
It'd be a pretty bummer of a weekend.
It would be. You could go 2-1 or you could go 1-2. So my question is, what Kyle, I'll start with you. What would you take and be happy, and what do you expect to happen?
I honestly I'll take 1-2 because
that's fair.
I hate to say that I expect an 0-3 weekend, but it just wouldn't surprise me. I think it'd take a miracle of a performance to beat Michigan in football. That's one thing.
Agree.
And then I just think when you look at the main event in Vegas, it just wouldn't surprise me to see Illinois, stay competitive but lose twice to some really good competition. If you sat in front of me and said, "Here, sign this," and Illinois is guaranteed to go 1-2 this weekend, I think I'd sign it.
Okay.
And say, hey, I'd leave with one win, probably a big basketball win, just to get some confidence, resume win.
Okay, my next question to you, and then I'm going to go to Pipes. That one win, if I could grant you one win this weekend, what would it be? I mean, be specific. Is it, don't just say basketball or football. I mean, specifically football. If you said football, we know where you're going. If you say basketball, which one?
Well, I think it would be football against
Okay,
Michigan,
okay.
just because it's not every day you walk into Michigan, beat the number 3 team in the country. I mean, that would be a historic win for Illinois. And basketball, if you lose 2 games, the sky's not falling.
Right.
It's a new team. I think they'll figure it out.
Unless Sky actually fell there.
Well.
But not get injured. He just kind of tripped. Derek Piper, 3-0, 0-3, 2-1, 1-2. What do you hope happens? Now, obviously, we all hope 3-0, but what realistically, what do you hope happens? And then what do you think will happen?
Realistically, I hope for 2-1.
Okay.
I am expecting 1-2. And unfortunately, in my head, this is the way, I mean, I think that 0-3 is more likely than 2-1.
100%.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That is because, Illinois is an 18-point underdog at Michigan, number 3 Michigan, and the way things are trending for them. It would be one of the big shockers in college football this season, albeit Illinois has been a good football team until the last 2 losses. And then also, the way Illinois is on the basketball side, still figuring things out, right? Albeit very talented. We've been over this. It would be hard for me to imagine them going 2-0, especially with Matthew Meyer not fully clicking into place yet. So I would say 1-2 is my expectation. 0-3 would not surprise me. 2-1 would kind of surprise me. Even if you lose the Michigan game and the basketball team wins the main event, it kind of surprised me a little bit. Or 1-1 in basketball and beating Michigan, that would really surprise me.
Goodness.
And 3-0 would be one of the best weekends I could imagine Illini fans having in a long time.
Now, this is weird, but I hope Illinois goes 1-2, and I expect Illinois to go 1-2. So I'll go with the expect first. I expect Illinois to win Sunday because I expect them to be playing Virginia, and I expect them to win that game. I don't know that Illinois can beat UCLA with not only the talent that they are coming into the game with, but with the veterans. I mean, let's be honest. And veterans that have played together. I mean, Illinois has got a lot going against them basketball-wise going into this. You got a lot of new guys playing together, and you still have a lot of youth. Now, you said UCLA's got 2 5-star guys in their starting lineup. Illinois isn't shy about throwing out what they have as well with 4 stars and maybe a sneaky 5-star when Sky Clark was before he got injured. So, but honestly, I don't expect Illinois football to beat Michigan, and I don't expect Illinois to beat UCLA. I do expect them to beat Virginia. Now, if you're going to win 2, it would be in basketball. I don't see any path to Illinois football beating Michigan. I just don't. I mean, you're banged up. Michigan isn't. Their strength is going against what you have a strength at in terms of their lines. They can run the football. They can stop the run. I just don't see it happening.
It's like them seeing a lesser version of themselves.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, it would be incredible. And the things that it would lead to if you beat Michigan. The idea that then if you beat Northwestern, the idea of that happening is just uncanny. It would
You'd solidify a New Year's type of bowl.
Would you not win the West?
You'd still need Purdue to lose.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. Well, whatever. Yeah, you would definitely.
I would imagine if
maybe
you would
save
beat
yourself.
Michigan, beat Northwestern, be 9-3, would that grant you a New Year's bowl? Would you need Purdue to lose still?
I would think Citrus Bowl at the minimum. At the minimum in that situation, I would think. It was interesting on Illini Inquirer. Now, I believe it was Jeremy that does that daily digest thing, but he threw out some bowl projections. Most every bowl was either Music City or that Duke's Mayo. There were two, including I think 24/7, that had Illinois still in the Citrus Bowl against Ole Miss. Now that would be incredible if Illinois was able to still do that, but I don't know if they're just assuming or they're saying, look, they're in the Citrus until they're out, meaning this Saturday, if they lose to Michigan, or if they're saying, regardless of Michigan, if they beat Northwestern, Illinois has done enough to get to the Citrus Bowl. I think that'd be cool. I can't believe that we ruined the chance maybe to be in the Outback, which is the Rely Quest.
Can I ask you this? Would you rather go to the best bowl game possible, knowing, I mean, if you face Ole Miss, that's a really good Ole Miss team, with the fear of, like, we're going to show up there and be outclassed and get blown out, or would you rather play in a bowl game where you feel like Illinois should win or has a really good chance to win?
I see where you're going there, and it reminds me of the LSU-Illinois game back in the day when Illinois played LSU and
the Sugar Bowl.
And had a really good second half. Illinois had a really good second half, but LSU just scared the crap out of Illinois early and just jumped on them, and it was like, what are we doing? I'd still rather do that. I'd still rather it be the bigger bowl and the bigger team because you get more attention, I think. I mean, look, I wasn't disappointed in losing the Sugar Bowl to LSU. I wasn't disappointed in losing the Rose Bowl to, what was that, USC, right? I was disappointed back Little Lawn in 83 or whatever or was that 84 when it turned the clock or the calendar, when Rick Neuheisel and UCLA hammered us in that 83 season of the bowl game, like 45-9. I was really disappointed. I thought Illinois could win that. Of course, I didn't really know sports as well as I know it now to say, But, I'd rather be in the cooler bowl against the cooler team. I'd love to play Ole Miss. If you told me right now you can, obviously not the main four teams, but if you told me of those other teams you can play one of these, it would be Ole Miss for me. I think that would be really cool. And a lot of it is because I just went down there and watched a game in Oxford, but I just feel like we could match up with Ole Miss. I think our defense and their offense would be an interesting pairing, and I don't know. I think Brett Bielema could outcoach Lane Kiffin.
Like to see it.
It would be
fun. We could
fun.
play some fun Lane Kiffin audio on this show.
Oh,
in the build-up. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
I agree with you because
hotty toddy.
While like winning the Micron PC Bowl, you won that game. It was fun to see Kirk Kittner catch a touchdown pass and just run up the score on Virginia.
That was awesome.
Getting to the Sugar Bowl was a bigger accomplishment. So getting to the Rely Quest, I wish they wouldn't have changed the names.
I know.
The Outback, the Capital One.
Outback, yeah. I agree.
It's bigger than going to especially the Duke Mayo Bowl.
Who was the quarterback for LSU? Was that Davey? Rohan
Davies.
Davies, okay.
No, it was Davey. You're right.
Oh, Davey. Oh, yeah. Who'd we face from USC as a quarterback?
John David Booty.
That's it. The star of the Civil War.
Lindell White.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Lindell White was still there? Did Reggie Bush just leave? Because didn't those two pair?
They were paired up in the backcourt.
Weren't they Thunder and Lightning or something?
Backfield.
Whatever that was. Were they the first Thunder and Lightning? Or I think you're right with Lindell.
Maybe he was gone. Could be right.
I remember Mendenhall doing. You remember that big run he had for a touchdown, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we'll play with you," and then we didn't. John David Booty. That's a great call.
It was Joe McKnight.
Oh, okay.
Joe McKnight was running back. Lindell White was not there.
Why wasn't John David Booty the quarterback at Kentucky or something? I mean, that just sounds like that kind of a team, right? John David Booty. All right, good discussions here. All right,
you would take the Michigan win over anything, right?
Yes, without a doubt. I'm sorry to Brad Underwood, and Kyle kind of said it the same. There's more at stake, number one, with beating Michigan. In other words, what could still happen this season for Illinois football, and there's still time for Illinois basketball to recoup and regroup and do their thing the rest of the season. It would be fun, though, to beat UCLA and Baylor. And
knowing what you said, time to recoup and whatnot, I would take the win of putting some money on Red 5 over Pujols on the roulette table as my one win if I could book one, that's what I'll take for this weekend.
I like it. Yes.
Can I go back to what you said earlier real quick? If Illinois does beat Michigan, they don't technically have to have Purdue lose a game to win the West. If Purdue wins out and Iowa wins out and Illinois wins out, and there's a three-way tie,
that's right. A three-way
Illinois
tie
wins
us.
that three-way tie.
Good call, Kyle. Yeah, because the three-way tie helps Illinois because now you go head-to-head against the other teams.
Yeah, and so according to this article, because I was trying to
Illinois
find
is beating everybody
time,
but Purdue.
All three teams would be 1-1 against each other. So then it goes down to divisional record. Purdue is 4-2 against the West. Illinois and Iowa would be 5-1 against the West. So then it would come down to Illinois, Iowa.
Let's go. So
just gonna put it out there.
Wow. Kyle, great stuff, man. Great work. You just earned another week as the intern at The Drive with Sam. No, seriously.
I honestly
work
didn't
there.
see that. Didn't know that.
That's incredible work. All right. That's awesome. And, of course, it's all it's going to take is just to beat Michigan. Yeah, I mean, that's doable.
That's it.
That's doable. Yeah, it's doable. All right. When we come back, we will hear from Brett Bielema and see what he thinks about tackling with the Wolverines. Why do I keep saying tackling as the adjective leading into things? I don't get that. I need to take
Maybe it's after Purdue ran for 100-plus yards.
Maybe that's
tackling. Emphasize it this week.
Lon needs a beach.
Hey, this is Ben Grice at the Humble Hog in downtown Paxton. And if you haven't been up to Paxton for our barbecue yet, let me tell you, you don't need a reservation. Just come on up. Barbecue with us is about as casual can get. We've got all your favorites. We're talking brisket, pork, amazing smoked turkey, our sausage. And while you're there, be sure to try the Paxton Punch. You can thank me on that later. Check us out online at humblehogbbq.com.
Towards the gap, towards the wall, and it's gone. Home run, Nolan Arenado.
This is Cardinals broadcaster Ricky Horton. Soon enough, the boys of summer will be back and on the fields in Jupiter, Florida. Spring Training 2023. It'll be another season of the home runs, the hits, and the unforgettable moments. We'll have you covered and be with you from the first pitch to the final out, right here on the Cardinals Radio Network.
When you're buying a battery, it's important to look beyond just the price and make sure you're buying a quality battery. So when you're buying one from the big box store, make sure you ask the question, what's the date on this battery? Is it dependable? Sometimes the big box stores have batteries that have been sitting on the shelf for years. Or you can just come to Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and buy your battery from the people who only do batteries. Interstate Batteries at 2504 North Madison, Champaign, way out there, but totally worth the drive. How much is dependable worth to you? Interstate Batteries open 6 days a week.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Saturday, March 25th, it's Cody Johnson and Friends, live in concert at State Farm Center.
You're gonna love somebody, hold them as long and as strong and as close as you can, until you can.
Tickets are on sale now for Cody Johnson and Friends.
I guess all I'm saying is forgive me if I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still learning to be human.
With special guest Randy Hauser.
Let me show you how country feels.
Cody Johnson and Friends, live at State Farm Center, Saturday, March 25th.
On my way to you. On my way to you.
Tickets for Cody Johnson and Friends are on sale now. Get yours at statefarmcenter.com, the Illinois ticket office, and by phone at 866-ILLINI-1.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection, amazing prices, and second-to-none delivery service. They're a third-generation local business, and they've always got your best interests at heart. Find the look you love for less. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, but always available online at kelseyfurniture.com. That's kelseyfurniture.com.
Looking for a custom design that stands out for your business? Wanting to get your vehicle wrapped but just don't know where to go? It's Aftershock Decals and Designs. From vehicle wraps to building designs, Aftershock creates designs that make heads turn. Heck, they wrap all of Land's heating, cooling, and plumbing trucks and vans. The one where Troy Lands is waving, that's Aftershock. Aftershock Decals and Designs. Heck, they also do signs, banners, even amazing coffee tumblers. Check them out at AftershockDD.com.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgie B at Stevie J Broadcasting, and you are listening to the amazing ESPN Radio 93.5.
Oh, yeah, baby. I'd love a Georgie visit back to campus. I mean, how cool would that? I mean, will he come back in 10 years and that place go nuts?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's just always going to be that guy, right? He's always going to be the Georgie B that we love. That's going to be awesome. All right, talking some football now. Illinois and Michigan, as Kyle just pointed out, there is a way that Illinois could still win the West, and that would be for Illinois, of course, having to beat Michigan and then Northwestern, and then having Iowa and Purdue not lose again. Now, obviously, Purdue loses, then that's great, but they're playing, Northwestern this week and then Indiana. I guess that could happen, maybe. But if Iowa and Purdue both win out and Illinois wins out, then Illinois would win the West due to tiebreakers with 3 teams being tied instead of 2, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to go through it again, but great stuff on Kyle's part to kind of fill us in on that. Derek Piper, this is a Michigan team. This isn't just one of those where it's like, well, maybe you could pull. I mean, this is a really good Michigan team that is ranked 3rd in the – wait. Are they 3rd?
In the country.
In the country and in the college football playoff rankings. They obviously have a great running back, and they have a 5-star running back behind him, Blake Corum. So they have your Chase Brown. He's not beat up like Chase Brown is. Hopefully Chase Brown's able to play. They're really good on the line, both offensively and defensively. They have a quarterback that's pretty solid. The one thing from reading about Michigan that I heard and read is that they just have not been throwing the deep pass very well. And I know that when I read the Know the Foe or Learn the Foe or whatever that is on Illini Inquirer, that it was basically the guy doing it was basically saying I could see Illinois kind of overloading the box, trying to stop the run early and making J.J. McCarthy beat you because
sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. You've got things you can do in the corners, but here's my fear: like I don't want to be play actioned to death to be down 14-0. I don't want to fake to Blake Corum, tight ends wide open across the middle. Fake to Blake Corum, the slot guy's wide open across the middle, and the next thing you know, it's 7-0, and then it's 14-0. I not that I want Blake Corum to run right down your throat, but I don't know. I mean, can you go toe-to-toe with Michigan, or do you have to do something fancy on defense?
I think you're going to have to do something different, unless you're just going to have this defense step up and play with the level of physicality and execution that they did earlier in the season, albeit This is an entirely different test. I mean, when you look at what Michigan State was able to do up front, for Purdue to have their walk-on running back Maccabee go for 100-plus on the ground. I mean, this defense, which was one of the best in the country at stopping the run, has given up here 4.5, close to 5 yards a carry, it seems, the last 2 weeks. And now you're going to face the top rushing attack in the Big Ten. Blake Corum is an awesome running back. And like you said, they can also hit you with some play action. And outside of Devin Witherspoon, the coverage recently has not been good either.
Right.
Whether it be the tight end, secondary wide receivers, that provides a really big concern as far as your defense, which is still kind of outside of Chase Brown and your defense are the strengths of this team.
Yeah.
And to the note on Chase Brown, Michigan has the top scoring defense in the Big Ten, the top rush defense in the Big Ten, only giving up 2.6 yards per carry this year.
Wow.
That's
Chase
a really tall task.
I don't care what you say. He's not going to be 100%. If he plays, he's not going to be 100%. Not after what happened there Saturday. I don't think. You said hit you, and I always remember the hit me with your best shot. Now that would be, you'd have to go back to your mom and dad there to find, but maybe you actually knew that song. I like that. Brett Bielema thinks this Michigan team is pretty good as well.
3 areas that you have to defend. It's a hard deal, right? So they obviously have an offensive line that is very good, very talented, big, long, athletic, move extremely well. Behind them is a running back that I think can be as good as anybody in the country. Strong, powerful, has the ability to run through you, has the ability to run around you, has some shiftiness to him. And on top of that, you have a play caller in the backfield, a quarterback that's being coached by an incredibly great player in his own right? I know Jim obviously touches the program in many ways, but he's a quarterback guy, and that quarterback plays at a high level. He's got an extreme live arm. And then they have 2 or 3 answers on the perimeter and a good tight end. So it's a very tall task to defend, but I think our guys are aware of it. They'll have to win their moments. I told our guys early on, right, I don't need anybody. I don't need any NFL all-pro player showing up for me on Saturday. I just need the best version of you, right? And that's the challenge this week for me as a head coach, for Ryan as a D coordinator, Barry as the O coordinator, Coach Snyder as our special teams coordinator. Just be the best you on Saturday, and we got a chance. Defensively, they got some edge players that are very, very unique. They have great versatility. I think their coaches use them very, very well. They have some good back-end players. They have a couple of dominant inside players. Their special teams are very accurate in what they do. Jim is a very good football coach. This is kind of cool for me to compete against him because I haven't had this opportunity and have ultimate respect for him and Michigan and what they do. He's got a lot of good young coaches around him as well. That's fun to watch them have the interactions that they are. But just a really fun weekend to be involved with. I couldn't ask for anything I'd rather be doing than going to Michigan at 11 o'clock on Saturday. I know a lot of people would say that, but I sure as shit believe it.
Oh, hey! Can't say that, Coach. But he did. He totally did. He did also talk about penalties and officiating.
Any curse words in that?
No. He held his composure in that one, but I thought this was really good. I'm not even going to try to set it up. He was just asked about, the idea of what happened Saturday and this and that. Here's Brett.
No, I think what we talk about is, I would say certain crews are more reactive, right? That everybody's human nature. I always tell our players, man, they all got a name, right? Most of them probably are married. Most of them probably have kids. Most of them probably have friends, some more than others, that they're human nature, right? Even when I decide to go, if I go after somebody, I want it to have content. I want it to have value. I try to be human with them on the backside, but, called 16 penalties against us, that's a large number. I got to know what I got to do better, right? That's what I'm charging them with is if we're going to get called 16 times for violations in those moments, I have to do a better job. So I want to know from them what I have to do differently to know that how I can prevent those from happening.
That's for some have more than others. He brings up a good point without really being an a-hole about it. He's passive-aggressive as hell right there, saying,
he is.
I got to know what's going on if they're going to call me for 16 penalties.
And you're not going to be able to know because the Witherspoon one was just egregious.
Yeah.
And should never have been called. The Sidney Brown is up for some debate. I don't think it was a pass interference.
I agree.
Some of the other stuff for Illinois, they got undisciplined. They did some things on their own in their own right where I think it was either frustration or just being undisciplined. Where you look back at the film, it's like, oh yeah, I think that they deserved some of those penalties, and they do have to clean that up internally. But you do wonder if it's a little bit of like Brad Underwood talking about the way Kofi was officiated. When you're not getting the calls and you're starting to get mad, then you go to the media and bring it up, and maybe it helps you in the next game. Just the way that kind of works sometimes.
Well, and like we talked with Jay, so many of those calls are judgmental calls. Holding that Purdue was never called for, and pass interference that Illinois had 4 going in and had 5 at the end of that day. In other words, they had 5 more. They had 9. Those are judgmental calls. And that kind of, that's fine, but normally those are evened out. Those calls are not, normally calls in general are evened out. Like at the end of a game, I've said this before, sometimes I would rather my team get the worst of the officiating early in a game because I feel like it always comes back around. Like, and whether an official would admit to that, but if you look at the end of a basketball game or you look at the end of a football game, normally it's Illinois had 8 penalties for 65 yards and Penn State had 6 for 60. And usually you're just like, I mean, this without Purdue declining them would have been 16 or 17 to 6. I don't know that Illinois declined a penalty. Maybe they did. And 3 of those, not to Purdue's fault, but 3 of those were personal fouls on Purdue that only affected kickoffs, where we kicked off from the 50. How weird was that, by the way? And then we had one where they were deep in their territory kicking off, and we actually returned it to like the 25 or 35 maybe. But I don't know. It was too one-sided for me.
It was lopsided on paper. I get it. And in basketball, you do see kind of like the makeup call happen a decent amount.
No doubt.
And as far as football, it might be a little bit harder for that to play out. Maybe Illinois should have been more aggressive in trying to get a PI their way by taking some shots down the field. In
fact, I would argue that they did have a makeup pass interference against Purdue. And Jay alluded to that.
Yeah.
Because I immediately looked at everybody around me. I'm like, that's a total makeup call. So now you're talking, that's only 5 penalties on Purdue if you're not making that one.
I just don't know that looking back at it, and I didn't study it in terms of super in-depth, but was Purdue getting away with holding calls when they're running for 4.5 yards a carry?
Just let me whine.
I know. It's just part of me. I get some of the calls are very clear and obvious, should not have been called. The Witherspoon game-changing call.
You're right.
The Sidney Brown one moved the sticks, allowed Purdue to get set up for another score. I just don't want it to be like
I'm with you
to downplay what's been wrong with Illinois here the last couple of weeks.
Yep. And you've had still in both those games against Michigan State and Purdue, and I'm not saying officiating was an issue in Michigan State. It wasn't that Indiana game with that one call. And I think, listen, Brett even said today, I don't know if anybody heard it, but this crew that obviously we had at Indiana and we had against Purdue, and obviously we're all upset about that, they also worked the Wisconsin game that Illinois won handily. So, just throwing that out for what it's worth, that did occur, but maybe because we won handily, they didn't have to screw it up. Maybe I'll look at it like that. I'm just in a whiny mood still on a Wednesday, but I'm going to turn the page tomorrow. No, I'm not. It is kind of cool to be able to go to the Big House and play Michigan. Somehow Brett Bielema turned that idea into how he recruits and how it helps him recruit. This is interesting.
Literally, if you love college football, which is why you're in this room, you're going to love Saturday, right? Get ready to be in one of the greatest home game environments to start the game. They're going to be all excited. One of the greatest things you can do is have the power to control your own destiny and play the way you need to play. So there's a lot of great venues in this conference. In my office, I have on one wall is Indy in the middle, surrounded by every stadium that we play in, because in recruiting, I talk about that, right? Like, if we're recruiting a kid to Michigan, I'll say, hey, listen, come here, play for me, and I'll take you there twice, 2 or 3 times, right? I'll pay for the plane ticket, I'll give you dinner, and let you play football with my uniform, right? And I use the other team's stadiums as a selling point. I know Iowa as good as anybody. I know Wisconsin as good as anybody. I've been able to have success, I think, in everybody's stadium. We actually won when I was a coordinator against Ohio State. There's a lot of great venues that if you play in this conference, that's a byproduct of those results.
There you go. Brett Bielema getting his team ready and psyched up to head to Michigan to face the Wolverines. It doesn't happen very often that Illinois goes and wins in the Big House. I think 2008 was the last time it has happened. I know the season series, Kyle, I was off by like 3 games, but you looked it up and have the official season series against Michigan. It's not pretty.
71-23-2 in Michigan's favor.
And I think Illinois has actually won some games in Ann Arbor. Like, I think we've just been destroyed at home versus Michigan. That even includes an overtime game against Tom Brady, right before the Big Ten changed the replay, because Michigan and Ohio State were the only two teams that voted against replay. I wonder why. Speaking of officiating, I wonder why. All right.
Do you remember the Denard Robinson game?
Yeah.
Was that 2000? I have it pulled up here. That was a 3 overtime game, 67-65.
I was
Illinois
in
lost
San
that.
Antonio, Texas.
Triple overtime.
We went, what do you call those things you stand up on and you just push forward and you go? Segway.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I can't believe I'm laughing at it. Did you know the guy that invented Segway ran his Segway off like a cliff and died?
Did he really?
I don't mean to laugh about
geez.
that. Kyle, can you effort that? That's a true story. Anyway, we were segwaying around San Antonio, Texas, bright and early, like 7 a.m. And one of our guys, Mike Edwards, took the Segway down to the Riverwalk area, which you were not allowed to do. And then he came back up, and the lead guy on the Segway is like, "Hey!" And Mike's like, "I'm sorry. It started going straight." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So when that ended, we had to bus ride back to our resort. It was about a 20-minute bus ride. And I had told the guys, "Hey, can we see if we can get the bar open early for the Illinois-Michigan game?" So we got back to the bar, and it was like, I don't know, like 5 minutes to play in the game. And then we sat there. I basically almost watched an entire football game, and I think I got back there with like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And by the time that game ended, I felt like I had watched an entire football game. But yeah, 67-65. Was that Shieldhouse?
It was. Michael LaShore had 5 total touchdowns.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That is awesome.
But unfortunately, the Wolverines outlasted you by 2.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did, in fact, ride his own. Sorry. You're making me laugh. No, I can't even say it.
Terrible.
He rode it off a cliff into a river in England.
Oh, man.
I don't know why. Oh, my God. Here's Jim Harbaugh on his team.
Illinois is very strong at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Outstanding run scheme, outstanding running back. So it'd be a real challenge and a task for our team this year. And been one of our strengths. Really both sides of the ball, up front, offensive line and defensive line. And, I really feel like our offensive line is going to be tested this week as well. So, big challenge, and we're preparing for it now.
Man, he's weird. He is. Was he always been weird? I don't remember him being strange when he played, or when he coached at Stanford, or at Indianapolis with the Colts, or where else did he coach in the NFL?
Niners.
The Niners. I don't remember him being strange. Was he?
There were some hints of strange with the Niners. Hints of it.
There were some hints of strange.
I never got that out of him at Stanford. Of course,
No.
didn't follow him as closely then, but really got there, ratcheted up at Michigan.
Like, if you almost have to watch his press conferences to understand what we're talking about. Because, like, he'll be standing at the podium and, he's got his glasses on and his flat bill hat that he wears all the way down on his, on his glasses. And, like, he'll be staring, like, at nobody and just staring off into space. And you'll hear the SID say, okay, Craig. And Craig will start talking, and Jim will, like he doesn't move fluidly. It's like these quick reaction, like a guy is calling, like yelled out his name. And so he'll, like, flip his head around and look at Craig, and then he'll, like, answer the question back where he's looking off into space. Like, well, I mean, yeah, Illinois is pretty good. And, and you're just like, what is wrong with you? I don't know. I got to take a break. I'm getting I'm churlish in this segment. I've gotten Kyle in trouble, everything. All right, we're back. It's the drive.
At Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people with amazing service, great design advice, and unbeatable selection and the best prices in town. It's the perfect time to update your home with waterproof flooring, carpet, hardwood, tile, and more. Then complete your rooms by shopping our incredible selection of furniture and accessories. We also offer great financing options. Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people.
If you need insurance, you gotta go to Insurance Providers Group. They can help you like they've helped me. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. Insurance Providers Group can get you a quote on all aspects of personal, business, agricultural, life, and health insurance and employee benefits. They represent many insurance companies that allow them to provide you with the most competitive rates and the best coverage. Call Kyle Lewis at 217-352-7080 or email Kyle at ipgins.com or go to the website for a quote at ipgn.com.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window, and we're proud to be your choice for the 2021 People's Choice Awards for the third year in a row. We want to say thank you by offering buy one, get one 50% off on all windows. And you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com. And remember, at Kramer Siding and Window, you have a friend in the business.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
PDR Automotive in Urbana is a locally owned repair shop, and they've now serviced over 250,000 vehicles in their near 50-year history. Now, that's more than 4 times the size of a sold-out Memorial Stadium. It's more than all Division I athletes in the country combined. That's more than the entire population of Champaign County. That's more than, well, you get the idea. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Congratulations to Sarah Champagne. Sarah Honda has won the President's Award. This is an award recognizing the best Honda dealerships in America. Sarah Honda has achieved excellence in sales, service, and customer satisfaction. When you go into Sarah Champagne, you'll see what winning the Honda President's Award means with their outstanding focus on you. Visit Sarah Champagne and experience excellence with not only Honda, but GMC, Buick, BMW, and Subaru. Sarah Champagne, off Neal at Burwash in Savoy.
It's a totally Christmas winter wonderland at Prairie Gardens. Ornaments, decor, wreaths, garlands, and so much more, all ready now, along with brand new savings. This week, save 50% off all Christmas bushes. Select large Christmas candle jars are $6.97. All furniture, save 10%. Plus, find your perfect artificial Christmas tree with the largest selection around and very best tree guarantee at Prairie Gardens, your Christmas destination for over 50 years.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B. Catch my boys Lante and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Drive. Boom, boom, brr.
All right, Derek Piper. You're going to be in Vegas, me in Florida. It's probably a good time to take a break.
No wonder we're getting a little goofy down the stretch of this show.
It's like when you wait. It's like when you need a haircut Monday. No, let me rephrase this. You need a haircut Friday. For some reason, you don't get it accomplished over the weekend. Monday rolls around and you look ahead and you're like, I can't get a haircut now till Saturday. And so then by Wednesday, you're frustrated with your hair and it's just like it looks crappy. And then finally Saturday, you get the haircut and you're like, oh, God, should have done that last week. That's what we are right now. Like we need a break so bad. And, you know, you and I put in some pretty good work here with Trevor being gone, obviously.
No bye weeks.
No bye weeks. Now, Kyle has done a great job and filled in on occasion on certain segments and such, which we appreciate. Kyle's doing a great job.
But yeah, I mean, it used to be that. I'd just take a day on occasion. I'd just be like, I need a day. Like I'm going to go golf, or I'm going to go, or for work. Sometimes I'm like, I need to go do this. Now, people that know me will say that I'm lying there, but it's just one of those. Sometimes you just need a day. We haven't had a chance to do that, so we need this. We need a day. Okay, now you're going to go to a place that the high temperature is going to be like 62 degrees.
That is correct.
And I'm flying into a place where the high temp the day I get there tomorrow is 62 degrees. Now, it does warm up to like 66, and it's supposed to be like 72 Saturday, which will feel like 100. But you don't get that warm-up, I don't think, in Vegas.
We don't. It's pretty
so weird.
Consistent in terms of just right on 60 for the high each day there. The lows at night are going to be down in the 30s, which I don't.
Yeah.
Guess I'm getting geared up for that.
When's the last time the lows were in the 30s in Vegas?
I don't know.
I mean, it snowed on Election Day there.
Yeah.
We just happened to pick the perfect time when, like, this Canadian weather front, or what, I'm not Greg Solier here, is going to move through and just, you're just like, speaking of that, I'm going to put weather into the next segment because I think people want to hear what the weather is. So sorry. All right. Anyway, is Illinois beating Michigan?
No.
Is Illinois beating UCLA?
I will not pick them to beat UCLA.
30% chance?
That's fair.
Go back to Illinois, Michigan. 10% chance? 20?
3%.
3%. Okay. That's like the what was that show with what I'm talking about? Where who was in Friends? Beautiful.
Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, where she's the dentist. And
Horrible Bosses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who's the guy that's going to be the hitman or whatever? And he's like $50,000. They're like, well, we don't have $50,000. And then
Jamie Foxx.
Then he's like $500. And the little guy's like, I don't understand your negotiating skills. That's kind of how you were there. You're like, I'm trying to work it up to like 20. You're like 3.
3.
All right, 30% against UCLA.
It's about fair, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say higher than
I think it's going to be about a 4 or 5 point spread.
Okay.
Maybe 35 to 40 if you're on the optimistic side.
I mean, we just don't know. That's the funny part. We just don't know what this Illinois team's going to do. And obviously, I mean, you have an idea because, and I say this because UCLA is coming back with a lot of guys kind of like Illinois did last year. Like, you kind of knew what Illinois was last year, even early in the year. I just don't know. Now, they've looked great in these 3 games, but I still don't know when they're facing a 9th-ranked team in the country. Obviously, they're not going to roll them like they did Monmouth, but, I mean, the way they've looked, maybe they do beat UCLA.
It's within their capabilities for sure. It's not like UCLA is by far and away more talented. Now, they are, on paper, the more talented team. When you look at their freshmen, both projected first-round draft picks next year. Wow. That's not to knock Sky Clark, Jaden Epps in them, but there's a little bit of a difference. And then to bring back Campbell, Jaquez, and Sky Clark, or Jalen Clark, those guys have played together for multiple years where Illinois is still trying to figure that out cohesively.
If you play Virginia, 70%, 60%, 50-50? I mean, they're ranked above you right now or better than you. I don't know how you say that.
Maybe 50-50.
If we go 3-0 this weekend, are we drinking on the show Monday? I don't think that's allowed by the FCC, but I'm going to write the FCC and Stevie J and say, I'm sorry, but I'm hammering it down Monday. I mean,
we should. We should.
How about after the show? That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. That would be incredible.
You want me to put any coins on Illinois money line then for you?
We need to talk about that after
Probably
the show. I never thought about that. I want you to put red roulette and let it ride for 6 times. Yeah, we need to talk about that after the show. I forgot about that. All right, Kyle, thanks, buddy. Thanks for looking up the segue.
Kyle's going to have nightmares.
You did have a great
thing on Illinois still winning the West. So we appreciate that.
On that complicated three-way at the top.
Hello again, everyone. That's Check Weather. Free Central Illinois, Champaign, Urbana, and Viz Saturday. Winter-like feel continues on right through the weekend, but just in the nick of time. Next week, it's a pattern shift as jet stream winds flatten out and become more west-east oriented across the country. That does a couple of things. Hopefully keeps the weather pattern, we think, quiet for holiday travel towards Thanksgiving and a return to more seasonal temperatures as well across our part of the Midwest and points out westward. In the meantime, it's more or less winter-like circulation heading through the Great Lakes region. Some passing snow showers and flurries for the day today. High temperatures up near 35, the northwest to west wind 8 to 16, and on the gusty side, enough snowfall in some spots to recoat the ground over later on this afternoon in particular. Lows tonight down to 26 with an evening snow shower tomorrow. A couple of flurries in the afternoon up to 34. Afternoon snowflakes on Friday, cold 27. A snow flurry chance Saturday at 31. Only the 20s for highs on Sunday, but then heading into the 40s for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm your host, Greg Solgay.
Since 1994, Matex Service Company has been the preferred heating, cooling, plumbing, sewer, and electrical provider in East Central Illinois. Now is the best time to ensure your home's heating and air system is ready to keep you comfortable year-round. So, your area's top-rated service team is giving you 1 month of heating and air maintenance for free when you join our ProTune monthly maintenance program. With a team of thoroughly trained, licensed, and background check technicians ready to serve you, Matex has the solutions you need to ensure your home is comfortable all year long. Matex. Feel the difference.
Have you been to Pards in Urbana? Well, you need to go to Pards in Urbana. Here's what people are saying. Great customer service, friendly staff. They treat you like family. I love Pards. I was very impressed. Great service, very neat store. I was greeted and asked if they could help me. That's why you should go. Check them out. It's Pards